question is, what stops leaders, yourself and other leaders you know, from putting people first?
I think there is a belief, and possibly many leaders don't build trust, don't put people first, because they think that stuff takes a long time.
I think you make a wonderful point. So the importance of building relationship connections, it feels slow initially, but it's really important to basically get things done.
You all know leaders who struggle to put people first. What's that about? What did you get from your conversations, or what are your thoughts as they emerge now?
I think in order to build trust, one needs to be at least a little bit vulnerable. I think in many corporations and in corporate life in general, executives, senior executives, and more junior leaders are kind of put on a bit of a pedestal, and they feel they are responsible for performance. They're accountable to shareholders. They've got to produce results, and financial results in particular. And so they're caught between those demands and the need to build relationships where they feel afraid to be vulnerable.
I love your point, Cecile, that there is a notion that you, in a leadership role, need to know everything. People are, and that may also be depending from culture to culture, but it's also here in the Netherlands the case. So you're a leader, so tell me where to go. What's the answer? And that may have worked 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, or 20 years ago, but it doesn't work anymore because we have no idea where we're going to. I'm not exaggerating. So the world is so changing so much. We have no idea what's going to happen. So recently we got this, the virus, and then something else is coming up, all the developments with artificial intelligence. So we don't know what's going up and where we are heading. And we need to live in that unknown space. To open up the vulnerability and build on the knowledge of others is the invitation for leaders.
Something I've been watching in a lot of my client organizations. I'm working with a very large industrial organization. I was there the whole of last week. And I could feel both in the room, both this desperate desire to have certainty. And a lot of them are engineers, and there is an aspect to engineering that is very certain. But every now and then they zoom out and they go, oh my God, we're in the energy industry. Nobody knows where the energy industry is going. The old school energy industry is out of fashion. The new school energy industry, people don't fully trust. There are powerful interests at play. There's that, the system bounces between the love of certainty and the need to embrace chaos.
Yeah, so I think when I was speaking with Komoto, the idea of rank and privilege being a barrier to seeing people as people, right, from a leadership perspective also came out, which I thought was good insight and a thing to kind of think about in terms of how we see ourselves as we enjoy rank and privilege, and how that plays into kind of the daily grind of getting things done and profitability and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I get rank and privilege that it's like this, rather than that we are, whatever role you have, we are equal and we can learn from each other. Yeah, that's so important. Yeah. It's interesting, actually, if you think you're above, that you then apparently assume the other does not have any wisdom.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Up in our conversation, one of the conversation is leaders not knowing how to manage others. Like, yes, you used to excel technically, and now you're promoted to manage others, and you just don't know how to manage the ship.
Sure. I so relate to that when I think of my own experience as an entrepreneur. So I kind of got self-promoted as the business grew. I was first doing it, then I had to achieve results through others. And yeah, I didn't know. And I didn't even think about getting training. I was just so rushing to try and get things done. Yeah. So I suppose I swallowed the sort of what's in the water that we drink. That's like leaders know the answers. I sort of swallowed that somehow without ever giving it a moment's thought that of course I don't know all the answers. And it created huge pressure for me.
Yesterday I watched an interview with Yuval Noah Harari. You know him maybe of Homo Deus and 21st Lessons for the 21st Century. And he basically said, take the job market in 2050, we have no idea what it will look like. And we also don't know what the educational needs are. He meets so many international leaders, both business and political, and no one knows where we are going to. Yeah, that's quite sobering, and things change very fast. And what I see a lot with leaders is there's so much pressure, and there's shareholder pressure to perform, that there's so much stress and overwhelm that people basically forget. They get stressed. They don't go through people anymore. They push the task, and ultimately that's very ineffective.